Bundle up for our show today on Jackson, Wyoming, sometimes known as Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Today we're going to look at the sled dog races, some fun, and food in Jackson.
Hi, we are in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. This is where the dog sled race takes place. It's a stage dog sled race, which means that they only race for like one city at a time, and once they're done with that city, they load up the dogs and then they take them to another location and another city, and there's several cities in this. This is the beginning of the race. They're just getting ready, set up for it. It's an exciting place to come and travel to. It's a little chilly and cold, so we got our hats and our gloves on, but hey, what do you expect for dog sled weather?
We are standing on the main street in Jackson, and across from me is the square. Each of the corners has these big arches covered in horns, and this is where they set up the refreshment stands. A hot drink was a welcome refreshment on this cold day, and it was a great time to cuddle as a couple. And Pedigree has been one of the sponsors and is the main sponsor of this, and so they set up a whole section there. They were giving away samples of dog food, and they had a place there making the public aware of dogs that were available for adoption and why and how to adopt a dog. They even had one there for you to pet and fall in love with. Pedigree even had one of those wheels that you spin and get prizes. So that was really cool because families with children would come and spin and get their prizes. They'd learn about dogs. With the money that Pedigree spends to sponsor this, it helps people get to see these sled dogs and learn about the sled dog racing, and the whole idea was to give access to the public to the sled dogs. I'm really glad they did, because I learned so much about sled dog racing that I didn't know. I didn't know that they were a small dog. I thought they were kind of a great big dog. I saw the sleds. They were had rails on them. I had no idea that the sleds had rails on them. I had no idea how they transported these dogs. They have them in the back of like a pickup truck in different little kennels. They drive them differently than I thought they did. It was just a different experience to learn how this goes. And there was even young kids on driving these. So there was all ages of people that drove them. There was women, there was men, there was, like I said, a young boy. So from city to city, you could see all kinds of types of racers and dogs. The whole city of Jackson was abuzz over this race, and even the window displays all were about the dog races. The International Pedigree Stage Stop Sled Dog Race is considered a dog-friendly race because it does start and stop each day. So each day they're in a new community, and then at the end of the day, and they finish their race, they can load up their dogs and go to the next city. It passes through some really cool small cities. So if you were to follow this race, you would be able to see some really cool communities and get a feel for traveling by exploring small places, town to town. If you've never done that, it's one of my favorite types of travel. This race is the largest sled dog race in the lower 48 states. Some of the cities it'll go through are starting in Jackson Hole, and then down to Lander, Cora, Pinedale, Big Piney or Marvelton, Alpine, Kemmer, Evanston, and then a ways on down, transferring into Utah. It ends up in Park City, Utah. And again, being at the end of the race would be really fun, because each day there's a winner each day, but at the end there's a large winner, and overall winner. This is a cool race for people to follow, because you get to see all these different communities as well as end up in the lovely city of Park City. The start of the race was set in the downtown of Jackson on the square that's real famous for the arches with the horns on them, where it's the touristy thing to stop and have your picture taken, because it's quite a sight. But they had shut down the street, like I said before, and this is where the race was going to begin. At the beginning of the race, there was a big jumbotron with sports things going on. There was the fire department there with their lights. Pedigree had a stand there where they were giving away prizes, free dog food, information on adopting dogs. There was a little tent area where they were serving or selling a Dutch oven dinner that was just fabulous. And then they had the coffee and hot chocolate area. And people were congregating there. This was the start of the race. It was a really cool thing. And then they had a huge big screen set up, and they had winter type sports going on that for people to watch. So the whole square area right there on Main Street was completely shut off. They took graders earlier in the day. They shut the streets off and took graders, and they graded the streets so that they could make this dog sled run for the dogs to go down the side. So it was interesting to watch as these loaders and these graders came in and made this trail for them to go down. Fun area for people to get together, get ready for the race. You could watch the dogs with the sleds come up.
Gerber from Scatter Travel TV. I'm here to cover the dog sled races in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We're up on a deck over the starting area and watching this race, and I'll be sharing it with you.
Lander, Wyoming, a chairperson and a dog musher, Jerry Bath.
You can see on the big screen that they showed the pictures of the drivers as well as information on the team and the dogs.
Said, dog mushers are short-winded. Unfortunately, they get to listen to me for the next 8 days.
The fire department from Jackson Hole was there, and they were there. Their big truck had these lights just light up the beginning of the raceway so everyone could see it. And people would gather on both sides of the track and wait for the drivers, because the drivers would slap their hand as they came by. They would announce the dog sled team and the driver, and then they would have a countdown. And then let them
3,
go.
2, 1. Good luck, Dave. Dave Turner on his way to Park City, Utah.
Everyone was excited and would cheer each time a new set of dogs would come out. And you just couldn't wait for the next race. It was so exciting.
4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, Jerry. Jerry Bath on his way. See you in Park City, buddy.
The dogs were smaller than I expected, but boy, did they ever try. And they could pull this guy on the sled, and the idea was for them to interact with the crowd, and they would slap the hands of the people as they went and wave to them. It was a great experience for the public watching as well as for the dog mushers. The people were warmly dressed. It was a little bit frigid that night, but again, it was a dog sled race.
This is way exciting. This is an experience, coming and watching dog sleds. If you haven't done it, find a dog sled race.
We are going to pause now and go back earlier in the day and see some of the things in Jackson Hole that I really enjoyed and that I think that would be good information for you. And then we'll go back to the race.
This is fun. Here's an elk. They have all kinds of things. Elk's one of the things they're known for here. So here is the giant elk outside of one of the stores. They have horns everywhere, so that's kind of fun.
Tomorrow
And you even have modern art in Jackson Hole. So let's take a look up at the modern art up on the hallway.
If you're into food, Jackson has some of the best restaurants and food available, and a wide variety. One of our favorite places that we went was the Cadillac restaurant. It's right next to the Cowboy Bar. The Cadillac restaurant is really nice, fine dining, and just has fabulous food presented in such a wonderful way, as well as connected right in the Cadillac restaurant is Billy's Hamburger. And so you could have a variety of food in there. I had the onion soup, and it was superb. Next door to it, like I said, is the Cowboy Bar. The Cowboy Bar is very famous, sometimes called the $1 Million Bar. They have great music and live music and dancing there as well. Another place that we thoroughly enjoyed was the Teton Steakhouse. Went there a few times. They had a great salad bar. It was decorated in a really cool Western style. There were hats on along the ceiling. There were farm paraphernalia hanging around. There was blankets, and there was brands on the table. And the funnest thing is they had this buffalo head hanging there with this little black cat on it, and it was just really cute. But this restaurant was really a fun, nice place to eat. Family style food, really good. Another one that we just thought was just interesting, and if you're in Jackson, you got to go see it. It's called the Merry Piglets. It is a Mexican restaurant, but they have these paintings on the wall, scenes on the walls painted of pigs, and it's just adorable. The food is excellent. They have this cute tiki bar in the restaurant, so if you are there in Jackson, go eat at the Merry Piglets. It was just great fun. Another place that I thought was just awesome was the Yippee-I-O Candy Company. Ooh, I love candy. So there's barrels and barrels of different kinds of candies and bins, and you can go and you get your little bag and you pick out the ones that you want, and then you can have pockets full of candy for the race. So that was a fun place, and they had awesome caramel popcorn there too. We made a stop in at the Jackson Hole Playhouse. Although there are no plays going on, we did get a little peek inside. It looks so much fun. I have heard if you go to a show there or dinner in a show there, you're coming back year after year because they do a fabulous job. And it is the cutest theater. It would remind you of just being back in the day, and it is just darling. Go and see it. Go and see a play there. I think it will really enhance your vacation in Jackson. A couple of quick things we saw during the day. One of them was this fence. Somebody was creative. It's very Jackson Hole. You know, Jackson's all about skiing as well. So this was really fun. And we also saw a moose right outside the condo that we were staying in with our dear friends Ron and Vicky. All right, let's go back to the raceway as we are by the elk again. I have to tell you, there's so much excitement when these dogs come by in the race, and you just want to be a part of it, and it is so fun. So you're leaning out there as far as you can because you don't want to go into the track, waiting for them to come by and slap your hand, and you give them a great hurrah, and and you see those dogs, and they're just pushing so hard, and it is just really a lot of excitement and fun. It's an experience that you should have. You can drive down, or they have a little shuttle down to the finish of the race where all the dogs are at the end, and it ends at the foot of Snow King Mountain. And the dogs are just, man, they're barking and they're excited and they're making so much noise. It's really fun to be there, and you can see the dogs. You get to see the trainers of the dogs and the drivers of the dogs and how much they care for their dogs. And they put them in the little cubicle things that are on the back of the truck, and the dogs like it, and it's comfortable, and it's just fun to see how much that they care for their animals and how good they are with them. Like I said, this ends at the foot of Snow King Mountain. At the end of the race, you get to go up into the lodge and have a party and join with the mushers. And again, Pedigree and several other sponsors put on a great party up there. There was food, there was stuff for sandwiches, there was hamburgers. I had chili with all the toppings. It was great. I got to use this little hot chocolate machine, automatic maker for hot chocolate and coffee, and it was fabulous. And Dove had ice cream bars there. It was just really well done with a lot of food, live music, and then the highlights of the evening came, and that was the torch run down the mountain. And so they would take these torches and ride the ski lift up to the top of the mountain, and then you would watch them come down in a light parade of torches, and it was quite a sight. There was also, of course, the ending of the evening. The dramatic ending is fireworks, and did they ever have a great fireworks display. Standing up there in that ice-cold mountain area, clear skies and beautiful fireworks going off was a great way to end. Jackson Hole, Wyoming is a great place to come visit. Winter or summer, there's great activities. But if you come in the winter, come snuggled up and bundled up in your winter clothes. Don't do what I did and grab gloves and find out that you have 2 gloves for the same hand instead of a right and a left. Check your gear before you come. Have an awesome time the next time you visit Jackson Hole, Wyoming.